Hi, welcome along to AFTV. Just in the middle of packing actually to go out to Belarus where Arsenal are going to be taking on Bate Borisov for the second time actually. We played them last year in the Europa League and it was a pretty successful time, and we play them again. Now, when the draw came out, I have to admit, I looked on it and thought to myself, couldn't have hoped for better. I was a bit disappointed because it's going back to a place where we've already been, and you know, in the Europa League you always want to go to a new destination if you're travelling to these places. But and don't get me wrong, Belarus was really nice the last time I went there. I really enjoyed that trip, but you know, I was like, oh, I could have got somewhere else. But when I look on it in footballing terms, purely footballing terms, take all the travelling and that out of it, it was a great draw for Arsenal. It really was a great draw. Remember, the last time we played them, it was pretty easy over the two legs. We beat them 4-2 over there in Bate Borisov. I remember Giroud getting a couple of goals in that game, and that was pretty comfortable. I think the two goals done them, you know, put a little gloss on it for them. And then we took them back to the Emirates and absolutely destroyed them 6-0. And remember, this is at a time when Arsenal were not really performing to their best, so it was a pretty comprehensive defeat of Bate Borisov, and I'm kind of expecting the same thing again when we played them on Thursday. They have already played English opposition this season in the Europa League. They came up against Chelsea, and again they got beaten over both games. Chelsea beat them over in Belarus by 1-0. I think it's Giroud again in that game. And then they took them home and beat them by 3-1. I think it was Loftus-Cheek got a hat-trick in that game. But again, pretty comprehensive. And, you know, they were in Chelsea's group. They finished second in the group. They've got through. Listen, there's no disguising it. There's no hiding it. It's an easy draw for Arsenal. However, for me, Arsenal should go into it with their strongest possible 11. No resting players, no putting in youngsters or whatever. Let's go over there and get the job done over there in Belarus so that when we bring them back to the Emirates next week, it's pretty comfortable and we get through. Remember, the Europa League this season is very important to Arsenal. If we can go and win this competition, it could be an easier passage. I don't think personally will be, but could potentially be an easier passage through to the Champions League next season, and that's where we want to be. You know what I mean? Last night I was watching the game, Manchester United versus PSG. Remember when we played PSG, and I'm like, these are the type of games I want Arsenal to be in. You know what I mean? The real elite games. And remember, you know, Manchester United previously, they've got into the Champions League through the Europa League. So let's treat it with a level of importance. Let's go out there with our strongest possible team. And I don't see no reason why we shouldn't, because we don't have a game this weekend. There's no game for Arsenal until next week's game against Bate Borisov. And I think if you work it out and you really look on it, if we go ultra strong, get the job done, then we can rest players for next week Thursday's game, which means we can then have those players that would have to start if, you know, we're up against it, fresh for the game at the weekend against Southampton, which again is another vitally important game at the Emirates Stadium. So for me, strongest possible lineup, and I'll give you my lineup right now. Now listen, I'd go Leno in goal, but we're not going to go Leno in goal, so I'll go with Cech. Obviously Cech's been given the Europa League and FA Cup games this season. For me personally, I'd be going Leno, because now it's all on this, strongest possible. But listen, I can understand that Cech's in his last season's been promised these games, so Cech will get the nod. So Cech to start in this. Then across the back four now, do we go with a back four or a three? Possibly he might stick with the same sort of free formation that he used against Huddersfield. That would be Ainsley, Maitland-Niles playing as a wing-back on one wing, and Kolasinac as another wing-back on the other wing, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. With then three at the back, which will be, for me, you go Mustafi, Koscielny, and Monreal. Then in the middle, I think Xhaka's still got a bit of an injury, so we go Torreira and Guendouzi again. Now, just in front of them, I'm going Ozil. It's time to bring Ozil back into the fold. He could possibly be injured. If he is injured, then I'll put Mkhitaryan in there. But if he's not injured, bring Ozil back into the fold. And then across the front three, I'd have Alex Iwobi. I know he came under a lot of criticism the other day, but I thought his driving runs at defences cause problems, and that's a good tool to have when you're going away from home. Plus, he'll work. Lacazette, who of course scored at the weekend, and you know he's a top class striker. Always has to start for me. And hopefully Aubameyang's fully recovered from his illness and he can come back in on the left-hand side. And let's go over there and try and score a load of goals. Let's go over there and try and get it done and dusted, you know, before we have to bring them back to the Emirates. Now, you know, I don't know what the fitness is going to be like of some of the other players. Will Ramsey have recovered from his injury? If not, possibly this might have been a game to have him in there. You guys might think maybe this could be a game to start a Denis Suarez, maybe instead of an Iwobi. He looked pretty decent when he came on at the weekend. We've not really got to see much of him. But certainly I feel it's the big guns for this game. It's the big guns, and we go for it and we try and dispatch of Bate Borisov as soon as possible. And listen, this is a tournament that Unai Emery has won 3 times. You know, he's won it 3 times with Sevilla. He knows how to work this competition. He knows how to do it in this competition. And I think we're kind of relying on him to do it in this competition this time around. Because as I said, getting it through the league is going to be a lot more difficult than it would have been. Especially with the emergence of Manchester United, how they've been playing. Of Chelsea, they're going to be stung after what happened to them the other day against Manchester City. So expect them to improve. So to get in there through the top 4 is going to be difficult. Tottenham are looking like they're safe in that top 4. So Europa League could be our best passage to getting into the Champions League. Although, as I said, it's really difficult to rely on it because, you know, look at last year when we just, you know, got Atletico Madrid in the semi-final, you know. So it's listen, we just got to go out there and do the business. And another reason why I feel that you should, from now on till the end of the tournament, we should go with our absolute strongest team. And let's say in the first leg we're miles up, then I can understand resting players. Is to keep that momentum going. Treat it like, you know, every game is like a Champions League game, and keep that momentum going. Just big wins, big wins, big wins. And that momentum can carry you through to a final and carrying you through to victory. So I look forward to the game. Bate Borisov versus Arsenal. As I said, going to be heading over there. Just literally over there has got some stuff packing up to go over. Very nice ground, very futuristic ground. I remember we was over there the last time. Very futuristic ground. Very strange place because you fly into Minsk, which is the capital of Belarus, and from Belarus then to their ground. From Minsk to the actual ground, it's miles away. It's about nearly an hour's drive out of Minsk. And the ground is literally in the middle of a forest. I mean, it's just in the middle of nowhere. How fans even get there, I don't know. But it is literally in the middle of nowhere. And it's a very picturesque place. I checked the temperature today and it's going to be about -1, -2. Could have been worse for the players. You know what I mean? These places are known in the winter to get down to like, you know, your -15s and things like that. And snow and stuff like that. So it could have been worse for the Arsenal players. Conditions shouldn't be, you know, beyond what they're used to playing in. Listen, they played the last round in Ukraine and that was absolutely freezing. So Arsenal used to going to Eastern Europe, used to going to Belarus, got the result there last time, and I fully expect them to do that again. So don't forget to look out for all our videos after the game. It's an early kickoff, 5:30 kickoff over there in Belarus. 5:30 UK time, should I say. We'll have videos after the game. We're going to be talking to fans. I love going to the Eastern European place because you also get a mix of Eastern European guys. I know there's some friends of mine over there in Russia who are going to be driving down for the game as well. So you should get a great mix of fans over there. And it should be a great game. Important game for Arsenal, must-win game for Arsenal. Let's go over there, get off to a great start in the resumption of the Europa League.